Good afternoon, Tess Crawley here, clinical and forensic psychologist and director of Dr. Tess Crawley and Associates Psychology Practice here in Hobart, Tasmania. I'm going to just do a very quick vlog with you guys tonight. I've posted a fair bit on social media today, a little bit out of character, had a bit of a flurry of interesting things that I wanted to share. But today, or tonight I should say, I'm just going to have a quick chat about hugs. But first I need to share into the Stigma Rebellion, and I will also share into the meeting room, which is my group for professionals. Now something strange is happening here. Bear with me, Facebook's done something strange as usual. I hope you've had a lovely Saturday wherever you are. I've been out and about most of today, which is why I'm so late posting tonight. If you've seen some of my posts today, you will have seen that I was in the lovely Salamanca place this afternoon. We were lucky enough to head down to the Seaside Festival at Turuna Primary School today, and I tell you what, school fairs are something different compared to what they were when I was young. I can tell you, it's a whole nother world. Fantastic band of young women from the high school were playing. There was a senior teaching staff band playing. There was, it was just fantastic. Anyway, let's have a look. Stigma Rebellion, in you go. And where are we? I'll pop you also into the meeting room, my group for mental health professionals. And I'll share the rest a bit later on, just to sort of keep marching on. The meeting room, there you go. Hugs. Well, earlier today I posted or shared an article from that I saw from the page of the Gottman Institute. And the Gottman Institute was founded by two researchers, both with the surname Gottman, Gottman. They are a couple, a married couple, and they do a lot of work around couples and relationships and happiness and things like that. And they do a lot of training for professionals around relationship counselling. And I've been following their Facebook page only for a very little while, but I found there have been some fantastic articles on that page that I've shared a few of already, and I often share them into my, I'll pop this into Hobart Perinatal Psychology is one of our other Facebook pages, because of course that's one of our dedicated interest areas of practice, because I've often posted some of the things from the Gottman Institute into the Hobart Perinatal Psychology page. Because a lot of what they talk about has to do also with parenting and children and so on. But the article I shared today was about 4 key things, and I'm just going to try and find it here so I can just give you a little overview of what they said. But the 4 key things about that can help you attain happiness. Now, one of the things at the top of their list that I remember them saying was about gratitude. And hi Nailev, nice to have you here tonight. And gratitude is something we've talked about before. I've talked about the benefits of gratitude. So that was on the top of their list. That regular gratitude practice actually does contribute to a sense of happiness, and they were able to talk about that in terms of the article itself was very light-hearted in the writing, but they drew in from a lot of scientific articles, a lot of quotes from very scientific articles talking about the neuroscience behind all of these factors contributing to happiness. And one of them, here it is, yes, okay. I'm going to just quickly post this into the comments section so that we can know what we're talking about if you want to follow it up. Okay, so on the top of the list was gratitude, and they talked about how engaging in a regular gratitude practice benefits the dopamine system. Now we know that serotonin is a really big ticket item in terms of neurochemistry when it comes to depression and overcoming depression. Dopamine is also implicated in mood and positive feelings and so on. And that's another neurochemical, dopamine. And so what they're talking about is they're referring to research that draws on findings that show that a regular gratitude practice affects the dopamine system. So the release of dopamine helps you feel better. And then they talk about how gratitude practice, particularly I would say of an evening, helps with sleep, which helps you feel generally better, and so on, a bit of a cycle. So you've got more things to be grateful for over time. So it creates like this positive ongoing spiral, starting with a gratitude practice, feeling better, having more things to be grateful for, continuing to feel better, and so on. So that was number 1 on their list. Number 2 was labeling negative feelings. Now this is something that I often do work around with a lot of my clients, particularly clients who've suffered childhood trauma and have shut their feelings down. So what I often do is I will help clients to identify and label the feelings that they're experiencing. And we often do that work with children as well, teaching children how to identify and label the feelings that they're experiencing. In fact, I was in the office today with Arthur while he was running our little anxiety group for children, and one of the things he had set them for homework was identify a situation that wasn't particularly great during the week and label the emotion that they felt during that situation. So it's really good practice to be able to identify the feeling that you're experiencing, to give it a name. So if you're feeling sort of a bit bleh, not feeling happy in yourself, sort of stopping, taking a breath and identifying exactly what it is that you're feeling. I'm feeling angry, or I'm feeling anxious, or I'm feeling sad, or I'm feeling bored. Being able to give it a name helps you activate the prefrontal cortex, the thinking stuff, tied in with the emotional systems of the brain, and again takes some of the what's the word I'm looking for? But giving it a name, giving that feeling a name, helps you identify why you're feeling what you're feeling, put it all together in your mind, make sense of it all, and then be able to sort of pick it up and put it over here and say, okay, well that's that, I can cope with that. I know what that is now. I can cope with that. A little bit like a bump in the night gives you a fright when you realise it was the cat jumping onto the roof. Giving it a name, identifying what it was, you feel better. Number 3 was making decisions. Now, I'm not going to go into that in great detail now. I've put the article in the comment section so you can have a read of this yourself. But this process of deciding, they talk about, we often flip-flop when we've got big choices to make. We often flip-flop and weigh up pros and cons and feel frozen. And we've talked about that before too. We've talked about being frozen in action. And sometimes we just need to take the leap. That's my alarm telling the children that it's nearly bedtime. When we are faced with difficult choices, sometimes making a decision, even if it's just the interim decision, so today I'm going to tackle this problem in this way and I'm going to do that now. Or this is the decision I will make for now until I've got more information down the track. So it's really worth reading this article because they do make really good sense of why decision making is so important. Right, now I'm scrolling through. Now the fourth thing on their list of 4 things that neuroscience shows leads to happiness, they've titled touch people. And then they've said, no, not indiscriminately. That can get you in a lot of trouble. And if you've been keeping an eye on the entertainment media recently, you'd know that there are certain people in the entertainment industry who are in a lot of trouble for touching people indiscriminately and inappropriately and absolutely 100% illegally. What we're talking about here is the benefit of human touch, consensual human touch, and what it does to the brain. So we're talking here about the release of oxytocin. Now oxytocin, I don't know if you've heard of this neurochemical before, but oxytocin is the love drug. So that's the one that is released when a baby is born, and it's like a love hormone, if you like. And it's when there's that feeling that you get of that overwhelming feeling of love or affection or warmth towards another person. It doesn't have to be sexual love, just that beautiful, warm, glowing sort of feeling when you look at a particular individual or snuggle in with a particular individual. It might be a child, might be a partner. And you can get that feeling or variations on that feeling with friends and so on. You'll know that when you've got a good friend that you haven't seen for a long time, and you get that warm glow feeling when you sort of catch up with them again. So oxytocin is one of those, one component of the neurochemistry, you know, all those lovely juices in the brain that help you feel loved, help you feel happy. So there's the notion here that regular touch, so not cursory touch, not just sort of a bit of a pat on the back, but a hug, a good solid hug, you know, holding on to someone and really sort of giving them a good solid hug, and being able to do that regularly or have access to those sorts of hugs regularly is really beneficial. Now, the interesting thing that they talk about in this article is that if you don't have access to somebody that you can hug regularly, so if you don't have any children or you're not in a relationship, and it's a bit odd to ask your friends if they'll give you a cuddle all the time, massage gets you there too. So perhaps, you know, if you're able to access regular massage, and that's a really good alternative or a good option for you to get that release of oxytocin in your brain. Okay, so talking about brain juices and how interesting they are and how they're implicated in happiness. So just a really quick overview of an article that I read today, and the reason I thought I shared it into the pages today, but I wanted to talk about it as well because it generated a little bit of discussion. It generated a little bit of interest. Some other people shared it on after I'd shared it. I don't know, some of those people would also be followers of the Gottman Institute page, so they didn't necessarily share it from me, but there are some people who I know did share it from me, and there are, you know, members of my different groups who made comments around the contents of this particular article. So I thought it was a good one to talk through, a good one to encourage you to read. It's really light, easy, fun style of writing. The light grey bits in the text are the quotes from science articles, so from research, and they can get a bit dense because they're talking about neurochemicals and the neuroanatomy of the brain, structures of the brain. If that confuses you, don't read that bit. It's okay. You don't need to know about the bits of the brain, but read the bits in the normal black type, and it'll get you there because it's a really interesting read. And if you can access one or all four of those things, then you're on your way to having some extra skills up your sleeve or some extra tools in your kit bag for a happy life or a happy month or a happy day, whatever you can use those skills for. It doesn't have to be the whole be all and end all, does it? That's it from me for today. Big day, beautiful day in Hobart. I hope you saw the photo I posted from this afternoon. Just an absolutely stunning day today, not a cloud in the sky. So wherever you are, I hope you've had a lovely Saturday, and I look forward to talking to you again tomorrow, being Sunday, of course. So have a great night. Take care. Talk to you then. Bye-bye for now.